I'm Johnny, an A-list pop star, and the actor Martin is my publicly acknowledged arch-nemesis in Hollywood. Until one day, during an awards ceremony, I suddenly saw pop-up comments materialize in my vision. In the original story, you're the villain. Martin will have your flesh chopped into 80 pieces to feed to dogs, and your bones ground into powder to feed to insects. That string of prayer beads on his wrist is linked to your family jewels. That night, during a live reality show, Martin casually fiddled with the prayer beads, and I started shaking like a leaf on camera. Martin looked up at me, the corner of his lip twitching into a smirk. Excited, are we, Johnny? Furious, I grabbed him. Got the guts to mess with the real thing? Martin laughed, then bit my lip right in front of the live audience. If you're asking for it, I have no choice but to oblige. No, wait, that's not what I meant. On the Starbright Awards red carpet, camera flashes descended like a torrential downpour. I wore my media-ready smile, my fingertips gently tracing the edge of the trophy, but my gaze kept drifting involuntarily to Martin, standing to my left. Martin was dressed in a sharply tailored, custom black suit. The string of dark red prayer beads on his pale wrist glinted coldly under the lights, making him look even more aloof and princely. Such a poser. Martin was a seriously twisted guy, yet he spent all his time in front of the cameras pretending to be some kind of cold, noble prince. Leave it to an actor to package himself as some untouchable, ascetic flower on a high peak. And the worst part was his fans actually bought it. Of all the times, why did I have to be sharing the stage with this jinx? What terrible luck. So disgusting. Martin and I were mortal enemies. Not the fake, playful kind for the cameras, but real, can't stand each other enemies. The kind who would actually beat each other bloody. We fought over toys in kindergarten. In high school, we competed for first place, for the title of campus prince, and even fought over the prom queen. In Hollywood, we fought for roles and for fans. My list of grievances with Martin could fill 3 entire burn books. The host smiled and handed me the microphone. Congratulations, Johnny. As tonight's most influential pop performer of the year, is there anything you'd like to say to your fans? I lifted my chin, about to deliver my acceptance speech. But suddenly, my right arm, as if controlled by some invisible force, shot up, crack. A loud, crisp slap landed squarely on Martin's face. The entire venue fell dead silent. Everyone's eyes were wide, as if they'd just witnessed something unbelievable. The microphone dropped from the host's hand with a thud, and she started busily smoothing out her already immaculate dress. I was busy, too. Busy trying to figure out how to explain that slap. I had no idea what was happening. Whenever I'm around Martin, I get this uncontrollable urge to hit him. It's like my hand has a mind of its own. It must be because Martin is just that detestable. Otherwise, why would my perfectly good hand lose control and feel the need to hit someone? But now, in front of the entire country, I just slapped Martin, the newly crowned Triple Crown actor. This was not going to be easy to handle. As much as I couldn't stand the sight of Martin, and as much as I took every opportunity to trip him up, this slap came out of nowhere. Hitting him for no reason like this would get me crucified online. After all, Martin's fanbase spanned all generations. It's no exaggeration to say that anyone who's ever seen a movie or TV show he's in becomes a fan. I don't get it. He must be the reincarnation of some kind of siren to charm people. Martin's face was turned slightly to the side, 5 red marks starkly visible on his fair skin. At the same time, the corners of his long, soulful eyes, which could look at a dog with affection, were tinged with red. He looked like he was on the verge of tears. I'm screwed. There's no explaining my way out of this one. The untouchable flower, the aloof lister, slapped to tears by me at an awards ceremony? No amount of money could get this off the trending topics list, could it? But if I can't kill this story, how am I supposed to survive in the industry? I'd be drowned in the spit of Martin's fans. Suddenly, glowing lines of text appeared before my eyes. A classic scene. Johnny courts death by publicly slapping the great Martin, bringing the villain one step closer to his tragic demise. Villain's self-destruction progress. 10-100. Friendly reminder. Within 3 chapters, Johnny will be trending for all the wrong reasons. His reputation will tank, and his endorsement deals will drop him one by one, demanding he pay enormous breach of contract fees. My breath caught in my throat. Villain? Before I could even process it, more pop-up comments flooded my vision. Martin's prayer beads are about to move. Run, Johnny, run. Empathic link system activated. Prayer beads are equal to Johnny's family jewels. Current empathic intensity, 10%. Warning, prayer beads? Empathic link? What was all this? My gaze fell uncontrollably on the prayer beads on Martin's wrist, the very ones I'd deliberately given him on a show we were on together, trying to humiliate him for his holier-than-thou act. Who knew the idiot would actually start wearing them all the time? But the prayer beads equal my family jewels? What the hell does that even mean? I figured I must have had too much to drink at my new album's celebration party last night. My head wasn't clear, and my eyes were playing tricks on me. How else could I be seeing this nonsense? Just then, Martin slowly lifted his gaze. His dark eyes were unreadable, but his long fingers gently flicked one of the beads. NGH, a strange shiver shot from the base of my spine to the top of my head. My legs went weak, and I almost buckled to the floor right then and there. The audience craned their necks to get a better look at the stage. I bit my lip so hard I thought it would bleed, terrified that I might accidentally let out some kind of sound. What the hell? In front of all these people, how could I suddenly feel the urge to? I was sweating bullets trying to hold it in. I dropped the mic and bolted from the stage. Back in my dressing room, I locked the door from the inside. I stared intently at the stream of pop-up comments. It turns out I'm living in an old-school romance novel called My Possessive A-List Lover. I'm the story's villainous supporting character, and Martin is the domineering A-lister with a hero's halo. My daily routine is to stir up trouble, making it my life's mission to antagonize Martin. In the end, I'm framed by Martin, the story's dominant lead, and the submissive lead, and sent to a psych ward, where I'm tortured to death. And they won't even let me rest in peace. They'll chop my flesh into 80 pieces to feed to dogs. They'll grind my bones to dust to feed to insects. Only a sicko like Martin could come up with something so disgusting, not even sparing the dead. Hilarious. After living for 23 years, it turns out I'm just a 2D character in a book, and a villainous side character with a miserable end at that. What do? Maybe I should just kill myself? Sooner or later, I'm gonna die anyway. Johnny. My agent pushed the door open, his face grim. The producers of Savage Survival just called. They're demanding you show up tomorrow. I felt completely drained, totally listless. Not going. The penalty for breach of contract is $300 million. My agent lowered his voice, and Martin's studio specifically called to say you have to go. Otherwise, they'll have you blacklisted trade-wide and leak the love letters you wrote to him in high school. My fingertips went cold. I wasn't afraid of being blacklisted. But those love letters, it's just too embarrassing. Dying is one thing, but being humiliated is a fate worse than death. Besides, the pop-up comments just said I can't even kill myself. I have to be killed off by Martin's design. So I'm just some pathetic character, huh? Even my method of death was pre-designed. I can't even die a different way. The comments were still scrolling crazily in front of me. The reality show Savage Survival is a major face-slapping plot point in the book. Martin has already set the trap. By the way, Johnny gave Martin that string of prayer beads himself. How can this villain be so dumb and naive? TSK, the idiot thought giving Martin prayer beads would be a great way to mock his aloof persona. He had no idea he was basically handing himself over. Oh man, this moron Johnny is about to get completely played. Isn't he? Ha ha ha. I felt a wave of helpless laughter bubble up inside me. I can't even die if I want to? Seriously? This fictional character gig communicako is the absolute worst. I don't even have the right to die? Late that night in the hotel bathroom, I turned the shower water to its coldest setting, trying to cool myself down. My agent had just called to say the slap incident was resolved, but it had cost a bit of money. $5 million is a bit of money? I'm a guy who can't die, and not dying requires money. One slap cost me $5 million. I looked at my hand, suddenly starting to dislike it. Suddenly, as the cold water hit the back of my neck, a strange, feverish heat surged through my body. My breath hitched. My mouth was dry. I bit down hard on my lip. Needed. Why did I want it so bad? Could it be that empathic link the comments were talking about? So Martin is fiddling with that string of prayer beads right now? And the beads equal my junk? Does that mean Martin is playing with my... I glanced down, standing at full attention. No, my head was buzzing. I slammed the bathroom door open, stumbled over to the bed, and grabbed my phone to call my agent. I wanted to tell him to go beat up Martin, preferably break that bastard's fingers so he could never touch those prayer beads again. Knock, knock, knock. A slow, unhurried knock echoed on the door. I froze. From outside, Martin's low voice drifted through the door. Johnny, can we talk about tomorrow's show? The pop-up comments exploded, countless golden words erupting. He's doing it on purpose. He's playing with the beads even harder. This wasn't in the original book. The plot is deviating. How does Martin know the beads are linked to poor, dumb Johnny? Current empathic intensity. 20%. Warning. Warning. I gripped the doorknob tightly. The moment I opened the door, my knees were trembling from the continuous empathic link. When Martin suddenly took a step forward, I smelled the faint scent of sandalwood on him, mixed with a hint of dangerous aggression. Martin's fingertip grazed a prayer bead, his voice growing husky. We could talk right here? I watched as Martin's thumb brushed over the third bead. The instant his fingertip rolled over that wooden sphere, a sharp jolt of electricity shot from the base of my spine to the top of my head. My legs gave out and I started to fall toward the floor. As I was falling, I reached out, trying to snatch the prayer beads from Martin's wrist. But in that one move, I ended up tumbling right into his arms. My head was spinning, my whole body burning up. I tried desperately to hold back, but the moment I made contact with Martin's body, a sound escaped my lips against my will. Damn it. This is so humiliating. So embarrassing. Martin held me in his arms, a corner of his lip curling up. A flicker of light seemed to dance in his deep, dark eyes. I didn't know you were into this sort of thing behind closed doors, Johnny. We know each other so well. If you wanted a hug, you could have just said so. No need for all these little tricks. Martin's voice was raspy and low, and as weak as I was, his words made my eyes burn with anger. I summoned every ounce of strength I had to break free from his embrace. Martin, you, get the hell out. As I spoke, I quickly retreated and slammed the door shut with a bang. That was close. I almost put on a live performance of that. No, I have to steal those prayer beads back. Otherwise, how am I supposed to get through tonight? How am I supposed to get through any day after this? I can't just be getting turned on at random times and in random places, can I? I'm a pop star. Tens of thousands of people watch my concerts. What if that bastard Martin decides to start playing with those beads during one of my shows? Then I really would be sent to a psych ward. I grabbed my phone and sent Martin a text. Don't touch that string of beads, or I swear we're done for good. Seriously, not a joke. After sending the message, I rushed back into the bathroom, planning to use cold water to cool down. But the strange feeling in my body seemed to have vanished. Could it be that Martin saw my text and stopped playing with the beads? But since when did Martin ever listen to me? Doesn't he usually do the exact opposite of what I want? Lost in thought, my mind felt foggy. But I was so tired. I just wanted to take a quick shower and crash. Too many unbelievable things had happened today. I think my brain was overloaded. And, of course, my body was overloaded, too. Let's just say it happened several times today. My legs are jelly. I have to get some sleep. Wait, the show. Right, I have to go on that show tomorrow. And when I get there, I need to tell the director to put me and Martin in the same room. Sharing a roof will make it easier to steal the beads. I'm a genius. And that asshole Martin, he's so rich. Why does he insist on wearing those fake prayer beads I bought for $9.99 with free shipping? Does he have some kind of weird fetish? A guy who wants to chop up my flesh and grind my bones after I die can't possibly be a good person. At the live taping of the Savage Survival pilot, I sat on the solo armchair, my fingers unconsciously digging into my palms, my eyes locked on the entrance. The pop-up comments were scrolling frantically in front of me. Martin's coming. Arch enemies in the same frame. Fight, fight, fight. Why is Johnny sitting so stiffly? Feeling guilty? The villain is about to get crushed. The smackdown is about to begin. I took a deep breath, trying to ignore the words floating by. Ever since I started seeing these comments, I found my emotions are more easily manipulated. And please welcome our final guest, Martin. Before the host had even finished, the fans' screams nearly blew the roof off. I looked up and met Martin's half-smiling, half-mocking gaze. He was still dressed in a black designer suit, the prayer beads on his wrist swaying gently with his steps, glowing with a dark red light. Oh hell, my throat tightened, and I instinctively leaned back. This is a live broadcast. The whole world is watching. I absolutely cannot do anything embarrassing, and definitely nothing that costs money. Getting that last slap story buried cost me a full $5 million. I can be at odds with anyone, but not with my money. Right? Deep breaths. Be happy, not angry. Do not, under any circumstances, charge over and punch Martin. Resist. The comments started scrolling rapidly again. Johnny looks like he's seen a ghost. Why isn't he rushing over to hit Martin? If he doesn't start trouble, how can Martin, the hero, crush him? Is he avoiding Martin? Something's not right. This is very not right. Shouldn't Johnny be jumping up to curse out and punch Martin? And then get dogpiled by the entire internet? Why isn't he moving? If he doesn't move, how can Martin crush him? How can the smackdown happen? Martin sat down on the sofa next to me. There was less than an arm's length between us. I could even smell the faint sandalwood on him, mixed with a sharp scent of cedar. Too close. I tensed my back, my fingers curling unconsciously. And just then, Martin's fingertips gently rested on the prayer beads. Whoa, 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 the empathic link, a live training session. Martin doesn't mess around. He really is the dominant lead. Is Johnny about to be completely broken? Warning. Warning. Current empathic intensity, 50%. BZZZZ. A subtle, sharp jolt of electricity shot up from the base of my spine. My breathing instantly became chaotic. Martin's fingers methodically caressed the beads. One by one, the pressure not too hard, not too soft, but it felt like he was grinding directly on my nerves. He was deliberately tormenting me. I clenched my jaw, struggling to keep my expression neutral, but the tips of my ears turned red against my will, and my body began to tremble uncontrollably. The host asked me, "Johnny, what's wrong? Are you cold? Would you like a blanket?" The other guests all turned to look at me, especially Martin. His eyes, like they were laced with poison, were fixed on me. But I didn't dare open my mouth, afraid that if I did, that sound would come out. The comments exploded. Johnny's ears are red. The villain Johnny is actually blushing. Shouldn't he be enjoying this? What is Martin doing? His fingers won't stop moving. Is Martin trying a new form of torture? Whoa, this is intense. Johnny is definitely going to have a breakdown. This is so much better than any other kind of smackdown. I held on so hard that tears started to well up in my eyes. I really wanted to curse someone out. Just then, the host smilingly asked, "Have you two worked together before?" Martin's lips curved into a slight smile. Worked together? Johnny slapped me at the award ceremony. I suppose maybe that counts as a kind of collaboration. He paused deliberately, his fingertips pressing heavily on the prayer beads. Clatter. The script in my hands fell to the floor. The whole room went silent. I shot up from my seat, but my knees, weakened by the sudden jolt from the link, gave out and I nearly collapsed. Martin reached out just in time, grabbing my wrist. Half of my body was supported by him. Careful. His low voice was right next to my ear, laced with a hint of amusement. My fingertips trembled. My entire heart trembled. Martin's body was soft, fragrant, and cool. I wanted to hug him and tear his clothes to shreds, and get down to business. I was completely at his mercy, live on camera. I wrenched my hand away from Martin and sat up straight. I'm fine. Is Mr. Hunt planning to become a monk? Playing with a string of cheap beads all day. Even if you're trying to build some Hollywood Zen master persona, you don't have to fake it this hard, do you? Be careful you don't overdo it and end up being hated by everyone. My tone was harsh, but Martin, uncharacteristically, didn't seem to mind. He just smiled. I felt a sense of powerlessness, like I'd thrown a punch into a bale of cotton. Fortunately, the host spoke up. Mr. Hunt truly is Hollywood's Zen master, an untouchable flower. No wonder so many fans adore him. Next up is our lie detector test. Because this is a wilderness survival show, cooperation between people is extremely important. The host announced excitedly, "Please face each other. The monitor will record your heart rate. The first person to hit 120 loses." What kind of segment is this? Weren't we supposed to be filming a pilot for a survival show? Shouldn't a survival show involve giving me a machete so I can hack this asshole Martin to death? What's this about a face-to-face lie detector test? The golden text scrolled quickly before my eyes. The production team knows how to play. A classic scene is coming. Johnny is going to mess up on purpose, pick a fight with Martin, and then get torn apart by Martin's fans and bullied into quitting the industry. Whoa. Johnny is about to be saddled with a 300 million penalty and quit. The psych ward plot isn't far off. If the psych ward plot isn't far, then can the flesh-chopping, bone-grinding part be far behind? The villain needs to be written off quickly. By the way, where's the submissive lead? Why hasn't he shown up yet? I looked at these comments and almost laughed. Bullied into quitting? As if I haven't been torn apart by the entire internet before? But if I get attacked, all those endorsement deals will come after me, and I'll have to spend money to smooth things over. My money? No, I can't spend any more money because of this lunatic Martin. Martin had already stood up and was slowly walking toward me. The moment the electrode pads of the heart rate monitor were attached to my wrist, my heart felt like it was about to leap out of my chest. Begin. Martin looked down at me and suddenly asked in a low voice, "Nervous, Johnny?" I sneered. "About you? Don't flatter yourself. Is that so?" Martin's fingertips gently flicked the prayer beads. "BZZZZT." Martin chuckled, then suddenly leaned in close. "Johnny." His breath ghosted over my ear as the prayer beads slowly turned in his palm. "Your heartbeat is betraying you." I grabbed Martin by the collar. "Damn it, are you trying to start a fight? You're so tough, Mr. Hunt. Watch too many action movies? Feel the need to get rough all the time?" The host quickly rushed over to separate us. Beads of sweat were dropping from the director's forehead and hitting the floor. He had been terrified. Martin's face was worth a fortune. If it got damaged on his show, he wouldn't be able to pay for it even if he worked for years without eating or drinking. When the live broadcast ended, I practically fled back to my dressing room. I ripped open my collar, gasping for air, trying to calm my still racing heart. That was too dangerous. Martin was clearly doing it on purpose. He already knew the secret of the prayer beads and was even enjoying the process of torturing me. That bastard. He really is a piece of work. I closed my eyes, about to change my clothes, when I suddenly heard a soft click. The door had been locked from the inside. Martin was leaning against the door, the prayer beads on his wrist glowing faintly in the dim light. "Why are you running, Johnny?" He walked toward me step by step, his fingertips gently stroking the surface of the beads. I clenched my jaw, my hands gripping the edge of the table. I really wanted to charge over and beat the crap out of him. But I'm a villain who can't even die when he wants to. Maybe I could try to salvage this? Try a different approach? A smile touched my eyes as I walked toward Martin. I got closer and threw my arms around him. Martin's entire body went rigid, his back muscles tightening. "Johnny, what are you trying to do?" He sounded angry, but his voice was trembling, like he was trying to restrain something. "Mr. Hunt, I surrender. You're too powerful. I don't want to fight you anymore." As I spoke, I unexpectedly planted a small kiss on his neck. Martin's pupils dilated. He shoved me away, turned, and bolted out the door. I kicked the door and muttered under my breath, "Damn it, making me sacrifice my own body." Fucking freak. Sicko. I had a thing with Martin. It was our senior year of high school. Right after my 18th birthday, we got into a fight over the prom queen, and it ended up on a bed. We rolled around, and then we slept together. Afterward, Martin kneeled on the floor and confessed to me. He said he was never trying to steal the prom queen from me, he was trying to steal me from the prom queen. He said he'd had a crush on me since we were kids. He said all the fighting and competing was just to get me to notice him. Back then, Martin was kissing me, confessing his feelings with so much sincerity. I already had a secret crush on him. Hearing him say all that, I was so happy I agreed to be his boyfriend. My dad was an alcoholic. When he drank, he'd hit me and call me a burden, asking why I didn't just die. Why didn't he hit my mom? Because my mom wasn't around. She had me when she was 18 and then disappeared. I heard that back then, my dad was incredibly handsome, with his hair dyed all sorts of colors, riding a loud motorcycle through the alleyways. My mom fell in love with him at first sight. They fell in love and then they had me. But after I was born, neither of them loved me. Later, my dad had a stroke of luck, won the lottery, and moved us to a mansion. He transferred me to a fancy private kindergarten. That's where I met Martin. Little Martin was always dressed so neatly, and even his hair smelled amazing. He would take my little hand and gently blow on the bruises my dad left. Looking back, I'd liked him since kindergarten all through elementary, middle, and high school. But he was so ostentatious, always wanting to compete with me, to beat me at everything. I never expected him to confess to me. I was ecstatic. I thought finally someone is willing to love me. I thought that by agreeing to be his boyfriend, we could be together forever. But after graduation, that bastard Martin disappeared. Vanished. Well, not completely vanished. Before he disappeared, that asshole called me. He said, "Johnny, I never liked you. I like women. I was just playing with you. You lose this time, you fucking freak. Sicko. You disgust me." Disgusting? Fucking freak? That entire summer, I locked myself in my room and didn't come out once. Every day, my dad would pound on my door, yelling all sorts of insults. I don't know where he found out about me and Martin, but he started calling me shameless, saying I'd disgraced our ancestors for 18 generations. Worse, my dad would send scantily clad women into my room, calling it helping me with my sickness. Yes, in my dad's eyes, liking men was a disease. For the first time, I had a huge, violent fight with my dad. Physical one. I don't know how I survived it. I thought I'd never see Martin again. Who knew that 7 years later he'd be back, and in Hollywood too. And he was relentlessly stealing my opportunities. He was an actor, but he kept trying to snatch my singing gigs. Anyone with eyes could see we were at each other's throats. I couldn't take it, so I accepted a role in a short drama about a gay couple. To my surprise, to spite me, that bastard, a world-famous actor, took a role in the same short drama. He even took the role opposite me. Heck, hilarious. Didn't he call me a fucking freak? And now he was crawling all over himself to act opposite me? That short drama had kissing scenes and bed scenes. Actually, I hugged Martin just now to deliberately disgust him. Surprisingly, he didn't hit me. He just pushed me away and ran. I was just thinking, since I can't die myself, I should just let Martin kill me quickly. I can't take another day of this humiliation. You sicko, how did you get so useless as you got older? Why didn't you just kill me? What went wrong? Where did I screw up? Live on the set of Savage Survival. I never thought the director would be this extreme. He dropped us right in the middle of the deep wilderness. No food, no shelter. He said it was all about relying on your own two hands, for the sake of authenticity. I'm here to gain fans and make money, not to die in the middle of nowhere. I was huffing and puffing, climbing the mountain with a tent on my back. Martin, an actor, had better stamina than me, a pop star. He'd already made it to the top. This solo mountain climb with a tent was our first task. The director said it was mandatory. Failure to complete it meant a 300 million penalty. It's just ridiculous. By the time I finally dragged myself to the top, that bastard Martin had already set up his tent and was resting inside. And just then, a sudden gale started to blow. I dropped the tent I was carrying. I ripped open Martin's tent flap and crawled inside. I crouched beside Martin's sleeping bag, my heart thundering so loudly it drowned out the sound of the torrential rain outside. That string of dark red prayer beads was just under his sleeping bag, glowing eerily in the light of the emergency lamp. Such a perfect opportunity. But just as my fingertips touched the cool beads, the director's voice boomed over the speakers. Red alert for severe rainstorm. Please reinforce your tents immediately. My hand jerked, and the prayer beads clinked softly. So interested in my personal belongings are we, Johnny? A low, husky voice whispered right behind my ear. Martin's damp chest pressed against my back, the prayer beads on his wrist grinding against the pulsing artery in my neck. The empathic link slithered through my limbs like a venomous snake. I threw an elbow back. Give me back the beads. I'm taking the gift back. Crash. The moment the lamp was knocked over, the live feed camera shook violently in the storm. The pop-up comments went absolutely insane. They're fighting. He's tearing at his clothes. The villain Johnny is starting his act. Martin is about to put him in his place. We wrestled, rolling into the mud. Martin's knee pinned my legs, his fingers clamping down on my jaw. You're really stingy, Johnny. You want to steal back something you already gave away? I wonder what your fans would think if they knew how cheap you are. What about the school pin I gave you senior year? Why don't you steal that back? Why don't you steal back the heart you killed? Shut up. Stop wasting my time. Give me the beads. I tried to kick him with my knee but was pinned down by his thigh. He suddenly ripped open his collar. Next to the school pin, a ring dangled, glinting in a way that stung my eyes. It was a cheap, street stall ring I gave him for his 18th birthday, the one he threw in the trash can the day we fought over the prom queen. You want this? He ripped the silver chain from his neck and shoved it into my palm. Inside the ring, a C and an E were engraved. The pop-up comments suddenly flashed with a blood-red warning. There's a bear trap under the sleeping bag. Johnny put it there. If triggered, it's a guaranteed broken bone. Martin gets injured, becomes completely disappointed in Johnny, and decides to kill him. Wait, when did I put a bear trap there? Is the author of this book an idiot? Are they just making up random crap to move the plot forward? What, because I'm a fictional character, I deserve to be bullied? Martin suddenly flipped over, shielding me with his body. A dull thud of metal on flesh from his lower back mixed with his grunt of pain. The smell of blood filled the damp air. His hot breath washed over my ear. You're still so reckless. I was sitting on his hips, his bloody hand pressed against the back of my neck. There was really a bear trap? Martin was really hurt? Does that mean the part where he decides to kill me is next? That phone call back then, Martin's fingertips traced my protruding spine. It was a misunderstanding. I can explain. I grabbed the string of prayer beads and wrapped it around his neck. And I'm supposed to listen? I'll kill you right now. You can explain it to the devil. That's right. Between Martin killing me and me killing myself, I chose to kill Martin first. That damn bastard. I was finally starting to forget him, to forget that miserable summer after graduation, and now he had to come back and mess with me? Is bullying me that fun? He suddenly tilted his head up and bit my throat. Pain and pleasure shot through me via the empathic link. Then why were you crying? Good boy, listen to me. Let me explain. I was speaking in opposites on that call. I was forced to. The moment I touched my face and felt the cold wetness, the tent was ripped away by the fierce wind. I shoved Martin, wanting to run. As the torrential rain hammered down on us, Martin shielded my head with his injured arm. Hold on to me. For some reason, I instinctively grabbed onto Martin. In a dangerous situation, my gut reaction was to trust him. To trust the person the pop-up comments said would kill me. I think the rain must have damaged my brain. Yes, my brain must be broken. Otherwise, I would never have listened to Martin. Right, my brain has a mind of its own. We tumbled in the mudslide, the prayer beads on his wrist tightly entwining our clasped hands, like a blood-red shackle that couldn't be broken. It's okay, don't be scared. I'm here. Shut up. I'm not scared at all. I wouldn't be scared even if you died. Okay, you're not scared. You're the bravest. Martin squeezed my hand as he spoke. Our fingers were intertwined. Why is this asshole talking to me like I'm a child? Did the rain mess up his brain, too? According to the pop-up comments, wasn't he supposed to hate my guts and want to kill me at every opportunity? I don't know how long we rolled, but the rain stopped and so did we. I staggered to my feet, ready to leave. But I'm the villain, and nothing ever goes my way. The moment I stood up, I was bitten by a snake. Does the villain really have such shit luck? I sat on the ground. Looking at the darkening wound on my leg, I felt a pained laugh bubble up. I wondered if Martin was going to take this opportunity, while I was injured, to take my life. But the pop-up comments weren't appearing anymore. Scared? Martin suddenly bent down and bit into the wound on my ankle. He was sucking out the snake venom. I pressed my hands on his head, trying to push him away. But I couldn't move him. A minute later, Martin sat up, casually wiping the black blood from the corner of his mouth, a wicked smile on his face as he looked at me. You won't die just yet. Tell me you need me, and I'll carry you. I slapped his hand away. Save your sweet talk for... Before I could finish, a pair of strong arms wrapped around me. I don't know what Martin's been eating all these years, but he was so strong. His arms were like steel bands around me. I couldn't move at all. He leaned his head on my shoulder, and his tears soaked my neck. He was crying? Back then, my uncle framed my dad and got him sent to jail. Someone tampered with my mom's car, and she got into an accident. My dad's company became my uncle's overnight. They also found your information and said they were going to come after you. I was terrified. I made that call to you, told them I hated you. I wanted them to think we were enemies so they wouldn't hurt you. My phone was tapped. I'm sorry. Listening to Martin's tear-filled words, I felt a heavy tightness in my chest. It was really a misunderstanding? Then what about all the suffering I went through? Does a simple misunderstanding make it all go away? On what grounds? After that phone call, my uncle had me committed to a psych ward. Every night I wanted to die. The only thing that got me through was thinking of you. Martin suddenly coughed up a bit of blood. Don't move, baby. Just let me hold you a little longer. Martin, you're going to die. The venom is poisonous. You. Seeing Martin's pale face, I felt an unfamiliar panic rise in me, making me tremble. Here comes the heartbreaking part. Martin will pretend to be poisoned to make Johnny fall for him. Then, when the submissive lead appears, he can team up with them to torture Johnny. It's all because of this idiot Johnny. He can't even stand without getting bitten by a snake, forcing Martin to suck the venom for him. This villain Johnny will do anything to climb his way to Martin, won't he? Villains are so disgusting. I looked at the pop-up comments and rolled my eyes. Since the idiot author wants to write it this way, I'll just have to change it. What submissive lead? Let's see just where this supposed lead is. Martin, if you don't die, I'll fucking marry you. Martin pulled at the corner of his mouth, his long, pale fingers hovering over the string of prayer beads. NGH. My whole body started to shake. My eyes flew open, and I tried to snatch the beads. Johnny, I think I'm about to die. Can you take pity on me? Can you love me? As Martin spoke, one hand rapidly worked the prayer beads while the other slipped under my shirt. I desperately tried to push him away, but he was crying. His handsome, long eyes were bloodshot, tears clinging to his lashes, looking so pitiful, so tragic. Johnny, I don't want to die a virgin. Please have pity on me. I only got poisoned because I was sucking the venom for you. My dad's in jail, my mom's lost her mind, my family is bankrupt, and I spent 3 years in a psych ward. Before Martin could finish, I crushed my lips against his. Daman. He was on the brink of death, and his mouth was still running. I was going to kiss him senseless, but I quickly realized something was wrong. I thought I was the one kissing him until he couldn't breathe. But now, it seemed I was the one being kissed breathless. What the hell? He's poisoned. How is he still so strong? And his fingers were still relentlessly turning those prayer beads. I'm about to break. Warning. 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 Empathic intensity has reached 80%. Wait, this isn't right. The plot is wrong. Why is Martin kissing Johnny? Shouldn't he be humiliating him? Shouldn't he be enjoying the villain's suffering? watching him unable to live and unable to die. Right before I completely broke, I spared a glance for the pop-up comments in the air. They were nothing but garbled code. The director and his crew found us. When the director learned Martin had been poisoned by a snake, he cried his eyes out, splurging on a helicopter to fly us to the hospital. Turns out, the doctor said the snake wasn't venomous. Martin wasn't going to die. The director was happy. I was a little happy too. Thank God Martin wasn't going to die. But Martin insisted he was traumatized, claiming dizziness, weakness, and a whole list of other symptoms, and demanded to be hospitalized. And if he was going to be hospitalized, he insisted I had to stay and take care of him, saying this was all because he'd saved me. Of course, I refused. But then he, an A-list actor, started biting his lip and crying in front of everyone. He looked so pitiful and wronged. It was truly heart-wrenching. If I didn't agree, I'd probably be drowned in the spit of his fans. My agent also chimed in, saying all the trending topics were about Martin getting injured to save me. If Martin was in the hospital and I just left, it would be a PR disaster, and the brands wouldn't be happy. My agent said my reputation was already, people do crazy things for money. For the sake of money, I stayed at the hospital to look after Martin. Late at night, the hospital. Martin was sound asleep. The more I looked at him, the angrier I got. How dare he just disappear and then just show up again? How dare he say it was all a misunderstanding and expect that to be that? Fuming, I pulled a chair up to the bedside and leaned over, kissing him on the mouth. 1 kiss, 2 kisses, 3. Martin was sleeping like a log, so I got bolder. I reached out and undid his shirt, button by button. Martin's body was truly a masterpiece. Just looking at him, even without the prayer beads, made me feel hot all over. All these years I'd missed him to the point of madness. Every time I made money from my music, I'd hire people to find him. I was going crazy looking for him. But when he came back, all he did was antagonize me, steal my gigs. Furious, I decided to act out all the red-hot dreams I'd had about him over the years, right there on his body. After I was satisfied, I slyly removed the prayer beads from his wrist, hid them, and then collapsed onto the adjacent guest bed, falling into a deep sleep. I didn't know that as soon as I was asleep, Martin's deep, dark eyes opened. He quietly got up and went to the bathroom, staying in there for a long time before coming out. The next day when I woke up, I saw strings of golden, jumbled code flickering in front of me. Were the pop-up comments broken? What submissive lead? As long as I want to be the one on the bottom, does Martin dare look for anyone else? I'll kiss him to death. The night we were discharged from the hospital, the director of that short drama we filmed found me. He said the show was a huge hit, and he wanted me to sell the ship for publicity. With Martin, of course, I refused. Because that night in the hospital, the prayer beads I had stolen were somehow back on Martin's wrist. Who knew if that psycho would start turning them during a live broadcast? But the director said he'd give me an extra $10 million. $10 million. I can disrespect anyone, but I can't disrespect money. So that night, I appeared in the same live stream as Martin. The number of viewers skyrocketed, hitting over 100,000 in just a few minutes. Thinking of that 10 million, I was full of energy. But not even 10 minutes into interacting with the audience, I felt that strange sensation in my body. I turned my head and saw Martin casually turning the prayer beads. His eyes were full of mirth, as if he was deliberately trying to see me make a fool of myself. I grabbed him. Got the guts to mess with the real thing? What's the point of playing with some stupid beads? Martin smiled, then bit my lip right in front of the live audience. If you're asking for it, I have no choice but to oblige. No, wait, that's not what I meant. With one hand, Martin slammed the camera face down on the table. With the other, he wrapped an arm around my waist and pushed me onto the table. Then he reached up and yanked off his own tie. The buttons of his shirt were torn open. His collar gaped, revealing his smooth collarbones and firm chest. I felt a raw, primal desire radiating from him. Martin's eyes were dark, and he looked at me like I was prey. Every nerve in my body tensed and trembled. I wanted to run. Martin suddenly grabbed my wrist. Before I could react, his lips crashed down on mine with a fierce, almost violent force. A storm of kisses rained down on me. Martin was breathing heavily. His hand hooked under the hem of my shirt but didn't go inside. But the mere brush of his fingertips against the skin of my waist sent shivers through me. He leaned close to my ear, his voice low and raspy. "Can I?" I didn't have time to answer. My phone started ringing. My phone. Martin's phone. I wanted to answer, but Martin wouldn't let me. He grabbed both my hands, picked me up in a strange position, and carried me to his room. I have no idea why the director chose Martin's house as the location for the live stream. And during the broadcast, there were no staff around. Just me and Martin. The director's exact words were, "He gave me 10 million, so he had no money left to hire crew." That night, Martin took me again and again. I felt like I was really going to break. Martin asked me to get back together with him. I didn't say yes. The rest of our lives are long. There's plenty of time to think about whether to get back together. But the next day, my agent called me, crying. He said that even though the camera was off during last night's live stream, the audio was still on. The whole world heard me and Martin last night. This time, I was really going to be torn apart by the entire internet, wasn't I? After all, they're untouchable, aloof A-lister, and me. But Martin was as happy as if it were Christmas. He wrapped his arm around my waist, snapped a picture, and posted it to his private social feed. "Everyone, I'd like you to meet my partner, Johnny." The internet exploded. Oh well, whatever. As long as he didn't die, as long as he's by my side, that's all that matters. Bonus chapter: Martin's perspective. My uncle grabbed me by the back of the neck, forcing my face against the security monitor. On the screen, Johnny was working a shift at a convenience store. 3 men in baseball caps flashed past the glass door. My uncle's hyenas. Such a pretty kid. My uncle's finger traced the image of Johnny's lower back. If someone broke this with a steel pipe, do you think he could still dance? I swallowed the broken fragments of my second molar, mixed with blood. 3 days ago, they had just handled the witness to my mother's car crash. Now it was Johnny's turn. "Uncle, I told you this guy is my mortal enemy. He wants me dead, and I want him dead. Using him to threaten me is useless." My uncle wanted the shares in my name, but they were my 18th birthday gift from my dad. My dad was framed and jailed by my uncle, my mom was in a car crash, and Johnny could absolutely not get hurt. I begged my uncle for my phone. I had to prove that all I felt for Johnny was disgust. The monitor suddenly switched to Johnny's rental apartment. 2 dark figures pried open his door. A flash of cold light glinted in the moonlight. It was the Swiss Army knife I gave him, now pressed against his own throat. "Martin." Johnny's roar crackled through the audio feed. "If you don't show up, I'll..." I quickly dialed Johnny's number. He picked up in less than a second. "You disgust me," I screamed into the phone. "Fucking freak. Why don't you just die? I like girls, not men. I was just playing with you." Amidst the sharp sound of a knife clattering to the floor, my uncle smiled and cut the feed. "Ha ha ha, you two look so beautiful when you're going insane." He forced a pill onto my tongue. "Sleep. You have to attend your father's funeral tomorrow. After the funeral, you'll transfer the shares to me in front of all the shareholders." That night, I carved the 7th scar on my abdomen with a shard of porcelain, matching the rib Johnny broke while practicing his dancing. It hurt so much. It hurt so much I curled up on the piss-stained mattress and laughed out loud. At least he was still alive. Johnny was still alive. The day I escaped the psych ward, I wore a prosthetic mask and snuck into Johnny's concert. He was singing a song we wrote in high school, but he'd changed the lyrics completely. So-called love is nothing but a fleeting illusion. The stage lights swept over his bare ring finger. I touched my chest, where a blood-stained silver ring hung on a chain, engraved with our initials. See, I was so close, but I didn't dare let him see me. I went to find my mom. She had been faking her insanity ever since the car accident, but in reality, she was perfectly clear-headed. Together, my mom and I got my dad out of jail. But my dad had lost his fighting spirit. He didn't want to fight or compete anymore. It didn't matter. I would fight. I would compete. I took back the company, chained my uncle with a dog leash, and locked him in the basement of our old house. I started an entertainment company, solely to promote Johnny. Later, when things had mostly settled, I made a high-profile announcement that I was entering Hollywood. To make Johnny see me, I used the most basic method. I competed with him for everything. And finally, his gaze started landing on me again and again. Then he gave me a string of prayer beads. I treasured it, because I discovered the beads had a secret. It seemed that whenever I turned them, Johnny's body would react. I was ecstatic. I finally had something that connected me to Johnny. I believed that as long as I was shameless enough, I could definitely get back together with him. My mom said I was being shameless, that it was too embarrassing. What's there to be embarrassed about when it comes to my own partner? He's mine, all of him. Even if I have to cry, I'm gonna cry my partner back to me.